It's time to be selfish. From the beginning, Blue Lock was just a soccer/football Squid Game. I thought it would be a simple sports anime and just a fight at who the best player was, but it was clearly much more than that. Different talents alongside different personalities made these characters, and there was a lot of redirection. I mean, this dude got hold in like the first episode, and after a build-up that made him seem like the main rival. Despite the overwhelming manliness, and I mean like there are almost no female characters in the show. I mean, these aren't female, but
What's up, brother?
Brother.
Got the strap on me, no lesbo.
Oh, go.
Seriously though, this is much more than just a manly sports anime. It gets deep into what ego actually is, and even deeper into the aspect of dreams. Not just what you're willing to do for it, but how you will manage to do it. Are you willing to throw away every last piece of what you were in order to reach what you could be? Blue Lock's second core of the first season is airing, and if you aren't caught up yet, I highly recommend it. The beginning of the Blue Lock was just a setup. It introduced the world that these competitors were going to fight in, and what made each of them different. But we truly got into the meat of the story when the tournament game started. I heard it gets even better in the next arc, which I'm looking forward to, but as you know, we can't read around here, so I'll be talking just about the anime. Blue Lock was what I expected in the beginning. It was hype, action-packed, and even unexpected betrayals. There was also a lot of suspense. They'll be on the thinnest line of defeat and all of a sudden come back from it like it was nothing. Blue Lock is the definition of let him cook.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him cook.
But the unique thing about Blue Lock is the skill sets that each player specialized in, or archetypes I could say. Starting with our MC, Isagi, whose main skill is to read the field. He's a playmaker who can adapt to any situation, and I think it's extremely fitting for Isagi. He isn't special like some of the others are, but he evolves. He learns about his adaptability and adjusts as the games go on. A great comparison to these skill sets are the quirks from My Hero Academia. Each player has their own ability like a quirk and try to take the field over with it. Except there is one big difference between the two shows. For example, in My Hero Academia, the sticky balls guy... Wait, I just realized that this is a guy that's obsessed with women in the show and his power is... Alright, I'm getting off track, but my point is that this guy is never getting near Deku, Bakugo, Todoroki, and so on in terms of power. Simply because the quirk he was born with is not that good and there's not much that can change it. But in Blue Lock, the field is equal to all. There's an equal starting line, which I think is so key to this representation of chasing dreams. From the very first episode where the dude got hoed, the field was equal. It was by chance that Bachira's crazy ass actually passed it to Isagi. And like I said in the tournament arc, we really see how bad these characters want it. The main conductor of this entire experiment known as the Blue Lock is Jinpachi Ego. The last name's fitting because he demonstrates what ego really is. It's the selfish drive that the best athletes must have. But it's not the selfishness that blinds you, it's just the understanding that there will always be a winner and a loser, and nobody but you can affect that outcome. There's characters who specifically represent that. Bachira was reliant on this monster, dependent on another person to play soccer, and he realized that that's not good enough. In order to be the best striker in the world, he would have to separate himself from the rest. He would have to be able to take on an entire team by himself. The only one who could change who he was himself. Then there was Baro, who had the ego part down, but he had to be humbled to reach his true potential. We see this with each character, their previous view of what it meant to be the best striker, and why they had to change it. Some can't adjust and they fall behind. Now if you didn't realize at this point, you could have replaced everything that I've mentioned about the show with reality itself. Not trying to get all matrixy on you, but the metaphors are too obvious. No matter what you're doing, there's competition. There's other people striving for that same spot that you've wanted. It isn't always as equal as a football pitch, but that's just life. It's not always fair, but what you can do is work on yourself. You can adjust, and you can do whatever you want. I know how cliche motivational words can sound, but it's cliche for a reason. People constantly say this because of how true it rings. Isagi represents it best. He's an ever-changing puzzle. He breaks his entire self down at times just to rebuild himself even stronger. Isagi is over giving up. He found out what he wants to do and he's going for it, no matter who's in his way, in the same exact way that you can chase after your dream. I covered the motivational aspect of the show, but it genuinely is very enjoyable to watch. I know not everyone is looking for a motivation, and anime is meant to be as enjoyable as it is in teaching us lessons. So with that being said, I really think Blue Lock is unique and really good. I haven't seen a lot, but I have tremendous amounts of respect for sports anime in general. Because it's not like One Piece, Attack on Titan, or any fantasy world at that. Sports anime are confined to the real world. And Blue Lock does receive some criticism over the flashiness, but a lot of the moves are real. The difficulty, of course, in executing it during a game is tough, but there actually have been players to do it. And a lot of the characters themselves are based on real athletes. Blue Lock does a great job of keeping you on your toes. I think my favorite scene so far has to be the one with Baro and the lion in the background. This episode itself was insanely hype, but this breakthrough itself was one of a kind. Isagi had Baro questioning his life. My man was witnessing greatness and felt utterly powerless. It seemed like he had one of two choices: to let Isagi run the show and win the game, or get in the way and end up losing the game. And Baro, he chose neither. He simply played harder, became the best on the field, and won the game. It's moments like this that stick to me past the anime. He had every reason to accept what was happening and fall behind, but he rose past that. I think it speaks volumes that this is one of my favorites from the winter season, given how stacked it was. It has me hooked already, and we only just made it out of the training facility. Instead of just making another sports anime, Blue Lock found something to specialize in, which is ego, and it continues to teach us that there's a path. It's not the same for each of us, and we'll use different tactics, but at the end of the day, we all have something to strive for. And it takes a bit of confidence and ego to reach that point. But regardless, we are the controllers of our own destiny.
Discard your common sense. Remember, out there on the field, you're the star.
This is the opposite of everything I've been taught.
Nothing should bring you more joy than your own goals. Live only for that glorious moment. And if you can't, then you're no striker at all.